Guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about a recent series that went completely viral on TikTok. Based on what I have seen, it is the most viral series that has ever been shared on the platform. And yes, we are talking about Reesa Teesa and Legion and her who the F Did I Marry series. I have to be very careful with the words that I use on YouTube, but nevertheless, I wanted to share some takeaways that I had. This is not going to be a full reaction because there are over 40 parts to her story, and I am not going to keep y'all here for 3 hours while we react to every single thing that she shared. But I had some interesting takeaways, so I figured that I would share those with y'all. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so I have this article from The Cut, which I will link down below. This gives a good synopsis because, in all fairness, I want to give y'all some backstory if I'm going to give my opinion on this. But no, I'm not going to keep you here for over 50 parts of a TikTok series that is quite extensive. I just don't think that that is needed. So I will give you the summary. And if you're interested, of course, I will link her TikTok down below if you have some free time and you're interested in falling down the rabbit hole and listening to her explain it herself. Of course, the door is open. The link is down below. It starts and says, last week, a woman posting under the name Reesa Teesa started a 52-part TikTok yarn about her marriage to a man she called a real pathological liar, and also the United Nations of red flags. Over the course of several days, she posted several 10-minute videos unraveling how she ended up dating, marrying, and eventually divorcing a guy she claims lied about pretty much everything in his personal life. According to her account, the man, who she is calling Legion, relied on a convoluted network of fake phone calls, unverified paperwork, and era logistical chaos to keep up his many charades. Who TF Did I Marry is so much more than that. It is a prestige television masterpiece, a chart-topping soap opera, a modern epic involving condiment HQ bureaucracy, and two real estate agents named Scott. One of them may or may not be real. To be clear, nobody seems to have corroborated this woman's story, so either she is a wildly good storyteller or a great candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize in fiction. No matter, thousands of people have apparently taken tens of hours of their precious lives to tune into her saga. Here is a drastically abbreviated version of what she claims happened. Strap in. Reesa claims she met Legion in March of 2020 and they started looking for a house together the following month. According to her videos, Reesa matched with this man on 2 different platforms, Facebook Dating and Hinge, though he apparently had used his full name on one and his nickname in different photos on another. In retrospect, the first of many ominous signs. Throughout the thread, she refers to him as Legion, as in the biblical man possessed by demons, which she says is a name she uses to talk about him with people in her real life. Because we are all too intimately acquainted with Teesa, we will be using that name here too. During their first phone call, he told her he had just moved to Georgia, where they both lived, for his first job as a regional manager at a major condiment company. She chose to not share the brand's name, that was based there and had promised to cover his housing. She claimed that he had grown up in the Philly area, played football for San Diego State, staying on the West Coast after graduating and marrying a woman with whom he had 2 children. He said he caught her cheating on him. They divorced, though he stayed close with his 2 step-children. At some point, he played something called arena football, which Reesa told him she knew nothing about, and he also claimed he worked as an IT guy at Apple during his off seasons. So far, when I was hearing this story, I was kind of thinking, wow, like, he has a lot going on, but at the same time, like, you're fresh into a new relationship. Is somebody really going to start digging off the bat to verify what somebody is telling them? Maybe, maybe not. I'm the type of person, God forbid if I was in that position. I just watch way too many documentaries, way too many true crime shows, and I would absolutely be verifying the information that I was being told. Hopefully I'm never there because Lord knows it would take up half of my time. But it continues and says, according to Reesa, a few days later, they arranged to go on their first date at Cheesecake Factory. When her tire blew on the way, she says the date met her at the gas station, changed her tire, and helped her buy a new one. Before they headed to their planned date at the Cheesecake Factory, they talked more about arena football and his ex-wife. For the next 2 weeks, Reesa said she and this man kept chatting, and when Georgia went into panini lockdown, it's been a while since I've had to use that word, they decided to live together at her 3-bedroom house, where he started to cover her rent and her utilities. It was intoxicating to not have to worry financially, she said. Before long, they decided to search for a place where they could move together and raise a family. So this is where things start to become a little messy. Things started to fray with their first round of house hunting. Legion, Reesa says, claimed to have invested in his arena football earnings really well and showed her a Chase letter approving him for a $750,000 mortgage. Throughout their relationship, he claimed to have 2 Chase bank accounts, which he showed her screenshots of, a U.S. bank account, which she never saw, and an offshore account, which she also never saw. After a handful of FaceTimes with a realtor, he told her that he had put in an offer and they were set to do a virtual closing in June. Because obviously this was during, still everything, the panini issues and all of that. That to me would make sense. The bank account thing would have been red flag number 1 for me personally. When the realtor called, Reesa asking what they'd thought of the house, he then told her he made the offer through a different realtor who was a friend of his. When she saw the house go into contract on Realtor.com, she assumed it was their own contract and then went shopping for appliances and furniture. Legion, she says, put down deposits for the furniture in front of her, but the inspection kept getting postponed. And here's the thing, I understand like a set of specific or shady circumstances or whatever you want to call it. I understand that those happen, but for me, I think that they are so few and far between. And she also shared that like her gut instinct started to really kind of go into overdrive. I'm really glad that it did because, my God, she ended up in a mess. Then in May, amid the real estate back and forth, she found out that she was pregnant. In early June, the house was taken off the market, and though they never closed, she contacted the real estate agent listed for the seller, who informed her it had gone to a different couple. Pregnant and excited about marrying him, she told herself that she would let him wiggle his way out of this lie. Most women in their right mind would have been like, no, I'm out, she said, and I didn't. Sure enough, a few days later, he told her something was going on with the interest rate, and she said, if the interest rate isn't good, then we should let this house go. Meanwhile, they were test driving cars that he claimed that he wanted to buy. His company had agreed to cover the cost of a car and also wanted to get Reesa one with money from his alleged offshore account. She had her heart set on a dark blue BMW X5 with cognac interiors, a string of words I now have permanently committed at memory. At one point, they spent many hours at a BMW dealership while he arranged a wire transfer of the phone, only to find out the person who could physically put through the transfer had allegedly gone home for the day. She spent another day waiting at home for an Audi that was supposed to be delivered and never came. I believe he enjoyed it, watching me test drive and get excited, knowing that I was not going to get it. This next part, trigger warning for pregnancy loss. If you are not in a position where you would like to hear this part, please skip to this timestamp. Totally understand, but let me get through this part and then we will continue. In mid-June, she suffered a miscarriage that ended up needing a D&C surgery the following month. Legion, who claimed to be up for a big promotion at work, couldn't bring her to the procedure because of an alleged meeting. By the fall of 2020, she was under the impression he had been promoted to VP of the company. Still, he wore t-shirts to work, which he said was due to the fact of constantly walking the production floor. After 3 more house purchases fell through, one of which involved Legion visibly signing a large cash bid and then getting into a stalemate with the sellers. When they asked for proof of funds, the real estate agent Scott told the couple that he couldn't work with them until they showed his agency proof of funds. Now here's where I think a lot of people started to kind of hold back a little bit with their support of her. Not saying it's like that for me, but all of these red flags are being shown, and she continues to go on and get married to him. So let's get into the marriage part of this. It says that they agreed to pause both the house and car hunts and get married in January of 2021. By the end of that month, she said, I kind of knew I was in trouble. He started making bizarre claims that their neighbor was hitting on him. After returning from work at 4 p.m. sharp for nearly a year, he suddenly was getting home around 6 or 7. He claimed to be looking again at houses with his realtor friend, who was weirdly also named Scott. At one point, he made up a story of an ex of Reesa's coming to her house looking for her. After one of their dates, he pointed out a building he claimed his company had purchased, and when she asked to see the office, he started driving there, but then found out on an alleged phone call with a security guard that the building was closed and his badge wouldn't work. Come on, guys. Like, if you work in an office building, you know that your badge is going to get you in that building usually 24 hours a day, unless you work somewhere that is, super secure or something along those lines. But if you're working for a condiment company, let's be real, I'm pretty sure that they are not safeguarding ketchup and mustard with 24-hour armed guards. Just saying. So it mentions how he would carry on these fake phone calls. Then it goes on to say in April, she found Facebook messages of him flirting with other women. They started couples counseling with a pastor and his wife, who told them that he didn't think it would be a good idea if they got married. It probably wouldn't even last a year. I think a lot of people could have told him that, but apparently this pastor and his wife were brave enough to say it out loud. They did look into separation, but instead started another round of house hunting, this time with a realtor named Amber. Reesa made the executive call to bow out when Amber asked for proof of funds as part of the pre-approval process. Proof of funds is huge. If y'all have either bought real estate or have worked in banking, anything loan related, like, I think most of us can realize pretty early on that proof of funds is going to be needed if you're trying to buy a car, get a credit card, buy a house. It's not rocket science. Toward the end of April 2021, she said she started looking for a new job, hoping for a higher salary so she could pay off her car without Legion's help. One potential employer asked her to fill out a background check packet, which included questions about her spouse. When he filled in his social security number, she says, she noticed it looked different from the one listed on their marriage license. And when she ran her own background check on this new number, no California addresses showed up. She also couldn't find any San Diego State football rosters with his name listed. When she called the school, they had no records of this social security number. She confronted him about this mystery, and he told her his father had paid for him to be a private citizen, which meant school didn't record his name or social. Around this time, he also told her that his ex-stepdaughter suddenly died of COVID, and he wanted to send his wife $2,000 for the funeral. In May, she ran a background check with a different company and was able to dig up records on his divorce, where she found he had been married and divorced in the state of Georgia, so not San Diego, and his ex-wife had been the one to file, prompting him to be served at a grocery store. She called the ex-wife, whose number was on the divorce documents, who told Reesa that Legion is a master manipulator and warned her, whatever he tells you is a lie. Based on what she said, she and her children don't communicate with him at all. They've always lived in Georgia, and her daughter was alive and well. On top of that, this wasn't the first call that she had gotten from a new girlfriend. His previous ex, whose address was listed on his license, had also been in touch. I don't understand what kind of gutless, soulless monster you have to be to literally be able to lie about somebody dying. I said before, if you're able to lie about certain things, I think that karma is going to come and knock on your door, and it's not going to be a pretty ending. Goes on to share that she decided to not confront him with this new information that she had obtained. She let things go while she kept digging. She found a handful of family obituaries for relatives he had claimed died during their relationship but had passed away over a decade earlier. So obviously missing timelines, Those records listed Legion and his two brothers he had talked about, but he had claimed to also have two sisters and two half-brothers on his father's side, none of which were accounted for. One obituary named an entirely different wife, leading her to track down divorce records from a first marriage that ended in 2016. One day while he was asleep, she went through what she thought was his old work phone and found text messages with a sex worker named Peaches, whose services he had clearly used multiple times. In the beginning of 2021, Reesa told the pastor that had been counseling them, "I have no idea who this man is." In June of 2021, which was also Legion's birthday month, she confronted him with everything she had found. At this point, he was living in the guest bedroom due to a mystery knee injury and had gotten so bad that he was on the verge of being bedridden. Eventually, he had an aunt who told him she would send him some money so that he could leave the house and come to Philadelphia. She says that she promptly had her locks changed, threw out the belongings that Legion hadn't picked up, and got her divorce documents in order. Once he was in Philly, more intel flooded in. She got a message from one of his cousins there who was suspicious of the story he was telling the family, that his wife cheated on him with a policeman who kicked him out of the house with his gun due to noted history of lying all the time. On the same phone call, the cousin shared that Legion was claiming that other family members had died from COVID, but they had actually died ages ago. So more and more stuff continues to be proven a lie. She's continuing to dig and dig, and it says after a few weeks of being silent, he apparently started harassing her, claiming he was legally allowed to come to her house and wanted to get his things. After a lot of back and forth with law enforcement, she claimed she found out that yes, he could legally come back, but also that there was a warrant out for his arrest for violating probation and that she could have him detained whenever he came back. The day that he was returning, she drove back from work to find his car in her driveway, drove past the house, called the police, who then came and arrested him as promised. She says that she moved in August of 2021, right around the time that he was released from jail because his warrant was actually expired. She didn't hear from him until December of 2021, when he contacted her job and her family trying to find her. Their last communication happened that month. She texted him threatening to get a restraining order if he didn't stop contacting her, and she hasn't heard from him since. So as of right now, Reesa has over 3 million followers on TikTok. She gained overnight fame and success off of telling this story, and I've seen two different camps. I've seen the camp of people who are just fully supporting her, totally on board, you know, Reesa all the way, 2000%. But then there's also this other side of people where I've seen just think that she doesn't deserve to have 3 million followers. She doesn't deserve to be, you know, becoming an influencer off of this. She doesn't deserve to be going on trips or getting free PR or be getting attention off of sharing this story. And for me, I've also seen within that second camp, people kind of giving this, it's this vibe of like, oh, well, that happened to me. Why wasn't it me? Why didn't I get millions of views? Why didn't I get millions of followers? Because I think that, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people have gone through divorce and a lot of people have gone through really crazy relationships where they were lied to and gaslit and so on and so forth. And I think that people have a certain reservation because this was strictly a story being told. There was not a lot that was backed up by receipts, proof, evidence. She refers to his video diary and a lot of her earlier photo or videos. And, you know, I think personally that there could have been a little bit more shown to back up some of these stories to give the viewer a little bit more of an intimate view of this. Like, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it and make sure that people understand what you are telling them. But at the end of the day, I also think that people like you to succeed until you are too successful. Once you're too successful, then it's, you know, oh, you're being bratty, you're doing this, you're like, guys, like, she doesn't have kids, she's not exploiting anybody, she's not you know, doing anything super crazy. Like, telling this story gets her some new followers and they want to follow along. I personally don't understand what the uproar is for. Now, if her story comes out and is proven to be a lie with proof, then we're going to have a different conversation about that, obviously, because can't stand a liar. Legion has come out and responded to this situation going viral. Unfortunately, I think that Legion is somebody who is very clearly suffering with some severe mental health issues, and I hope that he gets the help that he needs, because it is quite alarming to just kind of take this all in and then have somebody come out and kind of take the stance that he has taken. I will insert a couple of his videos if I can find them.
My exact finance is not your business. She knew for a fact I had money because, again, I bought dinner, I did everything. Because I heard in the story where she said that we quarantined together during the pandemic. And I need to clear that up.
Was the Chase loan, the approval of the $700,000, was that a real thing?
I never went to my bank and needed to get approved for a loan.
Getting up every morning, talking to your brother, who was on the phone? Was the proof of funds ever a issue?
To the 2 accounts I let her know about, I had 5 altogether, but she had access to them. She was able to go to the bank, buy what she wanted when she wanted to buy it.
Excruciating pain.
She did admit to me that when she was pregnant, that was the other gentleman's kid, not mine. It were all signs, but I ignored them because she was my wife, and I'm just saying she's trying to work hard. She started taking care of somebody who don't appreciate it, and then you end up with a Reesa Teesa.
This was a fucking crazy ride.
I told her the truth.
But I truly had no idea who the fuck I married.
Message to her is, please stop lying to these people, and you can tell them the real reason I left you, you cheated. I caught you in the house with Bradley, and we went to marriage counseling, didn't work, and we broke up.
Now, that was her ex-husband, Legion, and his only excuse, like y'all heard, was let them know that the reason I left you was because you cheated. But she addressed this all in her videos. Like, she didn't lie. What was the purpose of lying? She told you the truth, even if it made her look bad, which she did not do what she's accused of. So I just wanted to show you guys that.
If y'all haven't seen the videos, allow me to let you know it's our turn to be lied to and gaslit. This is Legion, aka Reesa Teesa's ex-husband, and he has been posting videos to TikTok saying he's sick and tired of the lies being told on his name. Let me tell you, when you watch these videos, it'll all make sense how he was able to sit on the phone talking to himself for 30 minutes to an hour, pretending like his brother was on the other side. This man wants us to believe that he's tired of the lies, so he's been sitting down with Netflix. That alone is enough to let us know that is a lie, but it's the fact that he said he's been doing it for 16 days when Reesa Teesa didn't even post that long ago. So when everybody called him out saying they didn't believe him, he posted a video tour inside of Netflix's office, but he never shows himself in the video. And the search bar says Netflix Singapore. When you click on the search bar, this 4th video is the same video he posted pretending to be there. And that video doesn't belong to him, it belongs to this person, which is pinned. So when people called him out for that, he posted this saying, Netflix head office, thank you for this opportunity. Y'all will see who's lying when my story hits the big screen. At this point, I'm just waiting on Netflix to leave a comment calling this man out.
Yeah, that's the whole situation with Reesa Teesa and why some people turn on her, why some people are with her. That's just the way the internet goes. But how do you feel about this story being put out with really nothing to back it up, nothing to, aside from other people agreeing? How do you feel about that? Because I'm also a commentary channel and I function in the space of receipts, facts, proof, evidence whenever possible. So I'm a little bit on that side too, but I definitely don't think that she is being given a platform that is not deserved. I wish her the best, but I just thought this was a little interesting, so I figured I would make a little video on it. So are you familiar with Reesa? Do you know kind of what I'm talking about? Of course, I will link her TikTok page down below, but for now, if you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.